Um, Very, very good morning, and Tashid Delek. And on behalf of the monks from Tepung Losling Monastery in South India, we would like to extend our heartfelt thank you and warm Tashid Delek to all of you. And we are very fortunate and honored to be in this church and to spend some time with you.
다른데 그거 대주네 출루 튼드당 시자이기다 잔리 시디 용하기 시자이 상지 죄시 디토네다 그거 대시주 중에 그거 디토네 아니 참마야 디토래 죄나 사지 용하기 아니 자와쇼유스
With this platform, we will try to generate more kind of a compassionate world on basis of religious harmony, and we have the responsibility to create the world to better place to live and better place to live for generations, so that through this platform we would try to generate more compassionate world.
다른데 죄시데 안에 상지 죄시 토네 된데스네 가메쇼야레샤 된데 뒤치 까망아이 나로야 죄제 토래 참마지 쇼고야 데 걸카고 인송자 다른데 아주 계지 주네 차지나 마쇼야기 된데스네 고르체바이
Since we have a very limited time, only 5 minutes, and it is very difficult to explain the compassion in 5 minutes, so that I would like to, give this chance to the translator, and he would, express the thoughts on compassion on behalf of all the monks. I'm the translator. Okay. Once again, good morning, and now it's a very limited time. I would try to, shorten my speech. Since this topic is all about compassion, so first of all, I would like to say that all the sentient beings, including us, want happiness and joy in our life, and do not want even a single suffering and pain in our life. That's a fundamental truth. And now question is, if we ask people what you want, they will say that I want happiness, I want to be happy, I want joy. Then second question, if we ask, how long happiness do you want? They would say, what a stupid question. It's for forever. That's forever. I want happiness forever. That's our one of dream. And second thing, if we put another question, how much degree of happiness do you want? First, 100%, not 20 and 30% of happiness. We want 100% of happiness. We want happiness for forever. And some people, like Buddhists, they believe in next birth too. Do you want happiness only for this life or next life? Or they will say that I want happiness for many lives, so that we want happiness, right? We want happiness. This is the fundamental reality of our life. So now the main question is that, so what is the happiness? If we put these questions, then many people have a different perspective and different answers. So I won't go further about this, interpretation of the happiness in detail. From my point of view, happiness is kind of highest form of satisfaction. If you are satisfied, then you have the happiness. If you are not satisfied with what you have, then there is no happiness at all. That's why happiness is all about, satisfaction. That's what I mean to, happiness. And now, is there any connections between the happiness and compassion? So now, happiness, that's we all want, but many people do not understand what is the source of happiness. So if you go further about the happiness and the source of happiness, we would find that the compassion is the source of happiness. So now again one question comes: what is the compassion now? What do you mean by compassion? So many people have a different perspective on compassion, love and compassion and kindness. So some people misunderstood by compassion and love with attachment. Sometimes we attach to someone or some places. This is not a compassion. Compassion and love and attachment they are totally different. I'll give you a very simple one. Like, from my point of view, compassion and love is to want someone to be happy. That's compassion and love. And attachment is you want someone to make you happy. That's attachment. So we have to, distinguish these two things. Compassion and love means I want you to be happy. If I see you happy, I am satisfied. This is compassion. If I want you to make me happy, that's attachment. So we have to know this. With this knowledge, then we can generate more kind of sense of compassion. Like this kind of compassion, it's not, yes, it's very, compassion is very simple, but being simple is not, a very simple one, right? It's very tough, like if you say something to be kind, to be compassionate, to be gentle, to be simple, that's very easy to say, but when it comes to individuals' practice, yes, there is a lot of difficulties. So there are two main obstacles of practicing the compassion. That is the wrong view of independent existence, and another one is self-centered attitude. Since we have a very strong sense of independent existence, the sense of independent existence, and the sense of self-centered attitude, these two are the obstacles for generating or developing compassion within us. So after this short 5-minute talk, our monks will do a little 5 minutes talk 5-minute chanting on the compassion. During that time, please try to generate or cultivate a more compassionate mind within us. And after this, I would explain more about the obstacles of the compassion and how to deal with these kind of obstacles later on. Thank you so much. And I would like to invite the monks on the stage to do the compassion chanting. Please enjoy. Thank you. Good morning again. Yes, the chant that our monks had just recited right now, it's all about compassion, especially about the compassion of giving and receiving. In Tibetan, we call Tonglen, which is, giving all your energies, your times, your everything to others, and receiving others' pain within yourself. This is the practice of compassion of giving and receiving. These are very powerful. To resume my talk on the compassion, as you know that there are a lot of problems, inside Tibet. Similarly, I was born in Tibet, and many of my family members were killed by Chinese militaries. And one of my uncles who jumped out of the house, when the Chinese military chasing him, and he committed suicide. And yes, I have seen a lot of, problems and criticisms going on in Tibet when I was a child. And I had a very strong hatred towards the enemy, towards the government at the time. And I suffer a lot with this kind of hatred. When we hate someone, that the person whom we hate, there is no effect. I am the person who suffered the most. So later on, I teach history in the university, and in the history, we would find a lot of things like this, and it generated more anger towards the enemy. Then later on, I found that, yes, I'm the only person who suffer a lot. The history is history, and it's gone. By gone is gone. But I suffer still. I suffer this past. So that's a little bit unrealistic. So I thought of, reading some another books. So later on, I found that, generating anger and hatred towards other people will bring you suffer and pain. And instead of anger and hatred, if you pay more attention towards your compassion, and if you generate more compassion towards your enemy, then you will be happy, and you will find another perspective and another way to achieve your goal. So later on, I started, practicing compassion towards the enemy too. Nowadays, a little bit better, but it doesn't mean that yes, right is right, and we have to follow, and we have to fight for the right, but we have to fight for the right and freedom with a sense of compassion, not a sense of anger and hatred. If we fight something of freedom or happiness for with the sense of compassion, then the result will be different. So I think now it's changing. It's changing, and it's changing in a positive way. So, like, at the end, what I can say is that compassion is the way, and compassion is the answer for all. So, compassion is very strange, or funny thing is that if we want to be happy, we won't be happy. Funny thing is that if we want other person to be happy, we will be happy. That's quite, magic about the compassion. If I want to be happy, I won't be happy. If I want you to be happy, I will be happy. So this is the magic of the compassion. And once in the Buddha's time, Buddha was asked by one disciple, one of the followers, saying that, I want happiness, and please give me the happiness. So he said, I want happiness. Then Buddha said, what you said? I want happiness. Please remove 2 words before the happiness. Remove I, this is self-centered attitude. Remove desire, this is attachment. Self-centered attitude and desire is the main cause of your suffering. So if you remove the I, there is no self-centered attitude, you will be happy. If you remove desire, there will be no attachment, then you will be happy. So this is so important. If you want to be happy, wish other people to be happy. Happiness will, go there and come back to you. That's so interesting, I think. So by the practicing of the compassion, since there are 2 obstacles, one is independent existing. We think that I exist my own. I exist independently. I don't depend on you. You don't depend on me. You are you, and I'm. You are somebody, and I'm somebody, and we don't care. We don't care about other people. But in the reality, it's not. I depend on you, and you depend on me. Of course, I depend on the stage, and stage depend on me. So those all are interconnectedness, right? So that we exist with depending on many things, and we cannot ignore other people. We cannot harm other people because I exist because of them. If I exist because of them, I cannot make him, sad or harm. So if we have this kind of sense of understanding, then we would have a sense of gratitude attitude of gratitude. If we have attitude of gratitude, then we won't harm other people, because if you are the source of my happiness, so that I am not going to destroy my source of happiness. You are my source of happiness, and if I destroy you, then I'm destroying my own happiness. So this is kind of the attitude of gratitude mentioned in I think you have read the Book of Joy, the Master Desmond Tutu and Dalai Lama. In 7th chapter or 8th chapter, they talk about the attitude of gratitude, so that if we have a attitude of gratitude, then it will really bring a lot of joy and happiness within us. So another thing is that self-centered attitude. We have a very strong self-centered attitude. Always we talk about I and my and mine and myself, right? So if we have a very strong self-centered attitude, then it will bring more focus on yourself. If you focus more on yourself, it brings more pain and suffering to you. Without, very strong sense of self-centered attitude, if you generate, sense of other before self, then you won't focus on yourself. If you don't focus on yourself, then even big problem can be a small in front of you, because you don't focus too much on yourself. If you focus too much on yourself, then a small problem can be a very source of your suffering. Suppose, let me take an example. though monks do not have this kind of experiences, but my friends do. If you have one pimple on your face and you are too much focusing on your face and the beauty of your face, and if you look in the mirror all the time, these small pimples make me ugly, and if you too much focus on your face, then a small pimple can make you unhappy. But we people like monks, they don't care about the face, and even there are lots of pimples on our face, there is no problem at all. So if you focus on something, then small problem can be a source of your suffering. This is the reality of our consciousness or our mind. So now I won't take a long time because it's I'm crossing the limit, I think. So yes, as mentioned in the scripture, if you want to be, happy, yes, wish other people to be happy, the happiness will come back. And if you focus too much on yourself, you are only one, the rest are a lot. So if you compare, one is important or others are important. Of course, others are important in numbers also. Others are many and you are only one. So try to, focus on others. If you focus on others, then you will forget about your own feelings. If you forget about your own feelings, happiness will enter within you. Otherwise, happiness runs away, because if you focus too much on your mind, your thing, happiness will run away. And if you focus on others, happiness will come back. It's a magic of happiness and compassion. So at the last, I would like to complete this talk with the one prayer by Shantideva in his Bodhisattva's way of life. He says, "As long as the sentient beings remain, as long as the sufferings and the painful remains, may I too remain and to help them to explain their problems and sufferings." Thank you, Tujjana.
Rinpoche Magye Banam Gyurji Gyawa Nyamba Mebo Gone Gondo Bewo Sho Ganri Ravi Kuvi Shingam Su Pendan Dewa Mali Jungwe Ne Jere Sewan Tenzin Jazo Shabe Siti Badu Tenjo